Ndani ya LYT tunabonga na mavijana mtaani.
Journey Mbogi tukiwa na mashekh na mahiro.
Nimefurahi kuwa hapa.
Naitwa Amisa Rashid.
Na leo tumekukaribisha katika studio, tunataka utuambie masuala ya social media.
Hao machali zangu, wewe mimi peke yangu sivuti bangi. Hao wengine wanavuta. So kila siku uko tu hapo kwa squad ya bangi. Vipi wewe how affect hao watu? Either they'll affect you or you'll affect them.
Sasa mimi nikiulizwa depression ni nini? Nasema hiyo ni ugonjwa wa watu masonko.
Kidogo. According to that time hata mimi nimecheza bano na hizo. Kuanzia saa 4 hadi saa 5 asubuhi kila Jumatatu.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good evening to you right there. Welcome to Live Real Talk, coming to you right from Kenya's capital, Nairobi County. And tonight we'll be talking about the just released results of the 2020. Now, I'm not so sure is it 2020 or 2021 results, KCSE, but I'm having teachers here in the studio who are going to talk to me more about that. Remember, it was a special year, special academic calendar, special examination, and thus special results. Right here on Live Real Talk. Tonight, we'll be talking about that. Joining me in studio, I have Sheikh Khalifa Athman, who is a teacher at the Amal Primary School. Karibu sana, Amal Integrated School, Nairobi.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Karibu sana, and thanks so much for making time for us this evening.
I'm very glad to be here.
Sheikh Rashid Songok Kiplagat, a head teacher at the Kenyan Muslim School in Uasin Gishu County of Seoul, is joining us via Zoom. Sheikh Rashid, assalamu alaikum. Sheikh Rashid, assalamu alaikum.
Kimoi Muslim Primary School.
It is Kimoi. Oh, Sheikh Rashid Songok.
Yes, Kimoi.
From Kimoi Muslim School in Uasin Gishu County.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for making time for us this evening, Sheikh. And of course, we are getting apologies from Dr. Ahmed Yusuf, who is the former NEC former secretary at the NEC, that is the Kenya National Examination Council, and diving straight into it. Mwalimu Khalifa Athman, maana tumesema, I need to brief our viewers on this. Leo tulikuwa tunazungumza hapo kabla kipindi kianze, tulisema tonight's show tutaweza kujaribu kuzungumza lugha ya Kiswahili vile na lugha ya Kizungu. And the advantage is that I have teachers in studio and in my panel. These teachers, and they're going to correct me anywhere that I fall short with my Swahili. And nakushukuru sana Mwalimu Athman.
Shukran.
Tukienda moja kwa moja katika kipindi chetu na tuanze kuangazia masuala hayo. How can you describe the academic calendar of the year 2020, bearing in mind that we were hit by the pandemic in March 2020, and thus education or learning institutions were forced to close down as per the President Directive? So how can you describe 2020 as an academic calendar?
First of all, as the tradition of the schools, the way we are used to operate, we always operate our schools from January to December. But coming to the year 2020, things changed. During March 13th, when the first case of coronavirus was reported, the schools were shut down. It was announced by the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta, that the schools should be closed together with the colleges and universities. So the learners were forced to go and sit at home with their parents. The calendar was automatically disrupted for that year. So the Minister for Education, Mr. George Magoha, tried as he could, but things were totally in vain. We even never knew when to open the schools. The teachers, the learners, the parents, they were all confused at home. But the minister tried as he could to ensure that the learners who are the candidates, the class 8s, together with those ones in grade 4, because they are now sitting for the new syllabus, which is the CBC syllabus. They were allowed to come back to school in the month of November and December during the year 2020, so that they could at least carry out their learning.
So how could you describe that particular academic calendar? Was it tough? Was it easy? Was it like how was it for you in view of teachers? Because we understand from the general perspective the way everything else, or rather a number of things in the country were halted, right? So from the teacher's perspective, how can you describe that academic calendar, especially being a teacher?
Automatically, the calendar was not easy for the learners together with the teachers. Back to the learners, you know, these learners in their minds, they always know that December is a holiday. So they're bringing them back to school in such like time, and you force them to sit in class to learn. It was not easy. So this calendar was not easy even for the teachers and the learners.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mwalimu Athmani there. And Sheikh Rashid, naona utakuwa ni wa kwanza kuweza kukuuliza swali kwa Kiswahili. Shule yako ya Kimoi ilikuwa ni moja katika shule ambazo kwamba ziliweza kuonesha Sheikh, how do you say results in Swahili? Matokeo. Iliweza kuonesha matokeo mazuri katika mitihani iliyopita wa darasa la 8 katika mitihani ya mwaka wa 2020. Je, ni mbinu gani ulitumia kama mwalimu mkuu wa shule hiyo kuweza kuhatarisha wanafunzi kwa mitihani yao ya KCPE? Mwalimu.
Asante sana. Rudi mwezi kwa sababu shule tarehe 10. Kwa hivyo jambo muhimu ambayo ilikuwa lazima ni kuhakikisha kwamba mtaala au syllabus kamilika. Hapo kabla ya kwenda nyumbani tulikuwa kumaliza mtaala labda ula wa pili, ungekuwa ni mwezi wa 8. Sasa kwa sababu
nadhani tuna hitilafu za kimitambo hapo na Sheikh Songok, lakini kitu ambacho kwamba niweza kusikia kutoka kwake ni kwamba kitu alijaribu kuhakikisha kwamba imefanyika ni ukamilishaji wa mtaala. Sio? Kwa hivyo ukamilishaji wa mtaala ni moja katika mbinu ambazo kwamba ni muhimu sana ili watoto waweze kufua dafu katika mitihani. Sio mwalimu?
Sana. It is very, very important for a teacher to ensure that he or she completes the syllabus in the given time, so that the learners can also embark on the revision in time, especially the candidates.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you so much. So in that case, how I don't know how your school performed. That is Amal Integrated School.
Yes.
I don't know how it performed, but how do you perform? How did you perform?
We actually expected to have a good performance, but it's also a private school, and we expected a lot of 400s, but we never had that those 400s that we're expecting. With the first candidate, we got 424.
Interesting that you mentioned about 400, and you're looking
the last
at
candidate had 330.
How many students were those? How many candidates did you have?
They were 26 candidates.
So 425. The last one was 330.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Good that you mentioned about the 400, and I'm looking at least a 16.4% drop, right? That was comparing the 2019 and the 2020.
Yes.
Ukiangalia katika mtihani wa 2019, sio? 2019 wale wanafunzi ambao kwamba waliweza kupata alama ya 400 kuendelea, na linganisha na mwaka wa 2020, basi unapata kuna asilimia ya 16.4 iliyoshuka kwa wale wanafunzi ambao kwamba waliweza kupata na kuweza kupata alama ya 400 kuendelea. Kwa hivyo ni nini kando na pandemic, kando na janga la corona, ni nini hasa huenda kawa pia limechangia watoto kuweza kupata alama kama hizi au kupata matokeo kama haya?
Okay. So, you know, in 2019, the candidates sat for the examination and they never had any obstacles around, because they were very okay and the coronavirus was not there. So for them, they did examination very well. But these ones of 2020, they had a lot of problems. But now again, when you look at the content in the examination, when you look at the heaviness of examination of 2019 and this one of 2020, you see, you will realize that the examination of 2019, when you look at the question, the language that was used in the setting of the questions was quite challenging to the learners, compared to this one of 2020. Generally, when you try to balance between the two examination, the 2019 and the 2020 examination, you will realize that the 2020 examination was the most quite easy, especially to us teachers.
Interesting.
We don't know about the learners, but when we try to check, we see 2020 examination was quite easy.
And still we had the 16.4%
I want to say
drop.
that the main reason, apart from the coronavirus, the main reason that maybe might have led to this, maybe I'm not a NEC officer, but we have this thing called standardization.
Okay.
I don't know how they standardize the examination to bring us these results.
I just hold on that point because I wanted to talk about the standardization. That I'm not an educationist per se, but duru za kuaminika zinatuarifu ya kwamba standardization iliweza kutolewa wakati wa aliyekuwa waziri wa elimu, na ni Daktari Fred Matiang'i. Lakini naomba ushikilie fikra hii hapo, ushikilie papo hapo, maana Sheikh Rashid Songok tumeweza kumpata tena. Naam, Sheikh Rashid Songok, ulikuwa unatuelezea jinsi uliweza kuhakikisha mtaala umekamilika kabla wakati wa mtihani, ikiwa ni moja katika mbinu za matayarisho wa mtihani wa KCPE. Sheikh Rashid. Sheikh Rashid Songok. Naona bado kuna itilafu ya kuweza kumpata hapo Sheikh Rashid na kuweza kuwasiliana na. Naam, Mwalimu Khalifa.
Naam.
Standardization, apparently it was removed during Matiang'i's era, Dr. Matiang'i's era at the helm of the education ministry.
Yes, that was during Mr. Matiang'i's era. We don't know about Mr. Magoha. Everybody or every minister who will come in the ministry will come with his own style.
Okay.
So we don't know if the standardization was there or not.
But as a stakeholder, as a teacher, you should know. You should be to know about this thing. You should know whether there is standardization or not.
No, I don't know because I'm not a marker.
You're not a marker, but you're a teacher, so at least it can guide you on how to prepare the students, I guess. I suppose. I'm assuming.
As a teacher, we only prepare learners on how to answer questions, answer them correctly, and pass the examination. To know whether we shall have standardization or not, that is not our job. That's the job of NEC.
Fair enough. 16.4% drop. Do you think it was a good figure, it was a good drop, or it was reasonable, or it was understandable? How do you describe 16.4%?
Surely it was a terrible drop. It was a terrible...
Factoring in the pandemic as well? You think it was a terrible drop?
Yes, it was a terrible drop. We, every teacher, we never expected such a performance. Even every learner. A learner who got maybe 314 marks was expecting something like 350 and above. So this examination made the teachers and the learners not to be satisfied in most of the cases.
Okay, thank you so much. We've seen a number of public schools they have performed so well compared to the private schools.
Yes.
And if you look at 2020, when Corona struck, when the virus hit and learning institutions were closed, and a lot of private institutions, they resorted to online learning.
Yes.
But the results speak otherwise, that the top performing schools are the public schools. Now, what exactly happened? Because we've also had some private school, stakeholders complaining that they were undermarked by the government, and that was a deliberate move by the government. Do you also share in the same thought?
The private schools, most of the private schools decided to hold the Zoom programs of teaching, online teaching. But at the same time, we have a lot of private schools which could not even afford such style of teaching. For example, the schools that maybe they are found in remote areas, they could not hold such sessions in
But talk
teaching.
of the ones that were doing it. My assumption would be
and for those ones who are doing it,
yes,
the learners used to come to class. And the teachers who are doing this, they will bear me witness that a learner could come to the class, put on the phone, and you could see that the learner is in the class. But when you talk to them, you are talking to yourself. That means that the learner, we have a lot of learners who are only joining and then leave the teacher to continue. They go back to their activities.
So it was ineffective. The online learning was ineffective.
It was ineffective. Truly, it was ineffective. But for those learners who could, who used to really use the online teaching properly, they passed the examination.
But this is happening at such a time when the world is moving into the digital space. So if our students are not ready for online learning, then what does it tell about our preparedness to catch up with the rest of the world in terms of digital?
This one now requires even a parent to come in, because when a teacher, when a learner is in school, together with the teacher is totally different. It's totally different with the time when a learner is now at home. The teacher cannot follow up that child to punish the child maybe for failing to do the assignment. Now, this one now is the role of the parent at home to also ensure that this learner is waking up early and joining the online learning, and also ensure she follows the assignments of his or her daughter, to ensure that the child has done the assignments, simply because the teacher is not there at that particular time. The teacher has only a role of coming to the lesson, teach, and give the learner the notes and assignments to do.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Mwalimu Khalifa.
And also the problem was that the problem was also marking. We have some teachers who could not afford to mark the given assignments. Okay. For example, we have some assignments, you can mark them online. A calculation of mathematics, it was a problem to do it online because of some teachers who could not do it, maybe because of their gadgets, could not withstand such.
Just hold on that thought, because we are going to go on a very short break. But again, when we come back, I want to know, and I'm sure you would want to know, out of the 1,179,192 pupils who sat for the KCPE examination, according to CS Magoha, Professor Magoha, I beg your pardon, says that they are looking at 100% transition. Do you believe that's possible? I also want to hear about that. That's one. I also want to know about what roles did parents play, if at all they played, or what possible roles might they have played until we saw the kind of results that we saw were released by the Minister of Education, CS Professor Magoha. All this and much more after the break. Don't go away, please.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
May you be blessed in this month of Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak. The Ramadan timetable is brought to you by the House of Peptang. The Ramadan timetable is brought to you by the House of Peptang.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Live Real Talk. My name is Faisal Qasim, and in studio I have Khalifa Juma Athman, who is a teacher at the Amal Integrated School. Karibu sana mwalimu, and thanks so much for making time for us this evening.
Yeah, shukran.
Mwalimu, we were talking about the KCPE 2020 results.
Yes.
First, I need your correction. Is it 2020 or 2021?
The examination was for 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, examination for 2021.
Yes.
Next year.
Yes.
That is the year 2022. We are going to do examination twice.
Tell me about it.
The first examination will be done in March.
Okay.
And the next examination will be done in November.
To make up for 2020?
Yes. So by 2023, by the end of 2023, everything will be back to normal. If the Ministry of Education will not tamper with the calendar of events, and if the Ministry of Education will ensure that they open the schools as planned.
That is May 10th.
That is May 10th.
Okay.
But if they happen in any given manner, again to interfere with that calendar, now the things we shall now continue with these styles until 2024-25.
But it's not the Ministry of Education in this case. It's the pandemic, for God's sake. Is it? Is it not?
Yeah, it is the pandemic.
Exactly. So how is it their fault?
But when things are difficult, we have to accept and live with the situation the way we are living with HIV/AIDS.
But this is different, Mwalimu. You need to understand that. This is different. I mean, people are dying. The number of people that we've lost as a country, as a people. The way this disease, the way this virus is spreading, it's not like HIV and AIDS.
I really accept. But at the same time, people, a lot of people are dying out of heart attack. But we don't announce the people who die because of a heart attack.
Cancer, yes, even cancer itself, diabetes, kidney issues, it's taking people.
If we happen to announce 100%. Even just today, you will hear even 350.
No. But Mwalimu, you need, Mwalimu, honestly speaking, not to be the devil's advocate in this case, but we just need to understand this virus, this pandemic. And we need to understand that this situation is not unique to Kenya alone.
Yes.
This is just me. Maybe I'm passionate because I've lost people, actually 2 people, close to me from COVID.
Yes.
One, I had to put on a PPE and walk into the ward to confirm, even before he was taken to the preparation area to be washed. Right? Yes. I had to put on a PPE. So maybe I'm talking like this because I'm quite passionate about this. But honestly, Doc, Mwalimu, sorry. This pandemic is different. You cannot compare it to heart attack. You cannot compare it to even HIV or any other epidemic for that matter.
Yeah, this
pandemic, maybe the worst would be Ebola, maybe,
this pandemic is real. And surely people are dying. I only say that if the Ministry of Education will see it important to continue closing the schools, then the calendar will also be interfered until maybe 2024 or 2025.
Okay.
But all in all, we need our children to be alive. We cannot teach sick people.
Exactly, that's my point.
We want them to be alive.
So even if they're closing the school, if the government is closing the school, it's not because they want to close the school. It's because of the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it not?
I agree.
It's because of... How many teachers have lost their lives, for God's sake?
A lot of teachers are dead.
Exactly.
And even a lot of them, they are in the hospitals.
Yes. So it's not about the Ministry of Education, I suppose, in this context. It's about the welfare and the well-being of the teachers and the students and the great citizens of this country.
Exactly.
Correct?
Exactly.
Thank you so much. We were talking about the 2021 results.
Yes.
And still, in line with private vis-a-vis public schools.
Yes.
Right, the performances. The public schools, again, outperform the private schools.
Yes.
For reasons we still do not know. Yes. But if anything, we saw the private schools putting in effort in terms of clearing the syllabus, ensuring things ran as normal as, you know. Another dynamic maybe might come in, the parents.
What I want to say is that on the side of the the private schools, they were carrying out online learning. But the public schools were not carrying out, most of them were not carrying out online learning because of the nature and because of the situation of their learners.
That's understood. That's understood. So my question is, besides online learning, right? What other roles? For example, parents. Might they have played a role? Maybe tuition centers?
Exactly. Where I come from, I've seen a lot of parents taking their learners for tuitions, calling the teachers into their houses to do something to their learners. So they have been ensuring that the learners don't just sit there. They have been ensuring, in fact, we have some houses, learners never rested. Learners never, especially the Muslim learners. They have the Duksi teachers, those were the madrasa teachers. After the madrasa teachers have gone, you see the mathematics teacher also coming in. You see the Kiswahili teacher also coming in to assist those learners. So most of the parents really played a big role. Wow. To ensure such like results could also come out.
Thank you. Thank you, Sana. Walimu, let's talk about 100% transition. 1,179,192 pupils sat for their KCPE exams, out of which CS Magoha is confident that all of them are going to enroll and join various secondary schools across the country.
Yes.
How realistic is this 100% transition?
It is very possible. And it is not the first time. This is almost the second time we are doing this. Last it was 100% transition. This is even the second time they are doing it.
Okay. Let me just beef up my question. Factoring in at least one thing. Let's start with this one thing first. Being a COVID period, we are still in the midst of a pandemic.
Yes.
It's not yet over.
Yes.
And we've had the ravaging effects, including the economic aspect.
Yes.
It has been seriously affected.
Yes.
You know, parents' ability to pay school fees has been interfered with.
Yes.
They may be willing, but they're not able.
Yes.
Right? They cannot afford, a number of them cannot afford to pay school fees. So is this dream still a reality?
According to the CS of Education, Professor George Magoha, he clearly said that any child who cannot pay school fees should go and join the public schools. In his assumption, he meant that public schools are free.
Exactly the question. Is it really free? Are they really free? What about the small fees that I have to pay here and there? The transport fee, the uniform fees, the stationery,
exactly,
the uniform, right? There's still some cost associated to that.
Exactly.
So how realistic is that dream again? And that's where I'm basing my question on. How realistic is that dream to ensure 100% transition?
So maybe if the minister will be lenient enough to also advise the heads of the schools to accept the learners in whatever the situation they will be in, whether they have the uniform or they don't have the uniform, they just accept them and ensure that after things have come back to normal order, they ensure that now they go and purchase the uniform.
So that's a strategy according to you? You think that strategy can work?
Yeah, it can work. It can work because now you see this is a problem that is facing everybody.
Yeah.
In this is not a problem that is affecting a learner and a teacher only. This is a problem that is even affecting the drivers who used to carry those learners to school. Where are they right now? They don't have jobs, you see. So it can be possible for those learners to go and join the school. In fact, the CS did it very well because long time ago, we used to have learners who used to join the schools, who used to even score 100 marks in the KCPE examination, and they were not allowed to join high schools. But when the previous minister, Mr. Matiang'i, accepted these learners to join high schools, we have seen a lot of change. We found out that this learner who scores 100 marks is more better than that one who scores 400.
Good that you've preempted that conversation, and that was going to be my next question, right? About the students who have not performed.
Yes.
You know, performed as expected.
Yes.
The 100s, the below 100s, the below 200s,
yes.
You know. By 100% transition, in this case, the minister is referring to primary to secondary, direct.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But these who have not performed well at all,
yes,
below 100 or below 200 marks,
yes,
right? If they enroll in technical institutions and start pursuing whatever.
Personally, I don't agree with such because we are looking at the age of the learners that we are taking to technical schools. A child of 12 years who has just completed class 8.
Not 14 years, Mwalimu? Not
or
14,
even
15 years?
or even 13.
14, 15 is at least is a good age. 13 is too low.
In fact, I have a pupil in Form 2 is 13 years.
From 2, 13 years?
Form 2.
Goodness.
13 years.
Alianza shule lini huyo?
Form 2 with 13 years.
Okay.
So let us just put it at 13. How can you take a child of 13 years to technical school?
To nurture the talent. Is it plumbing? Is it electrical? Is it,
Because
woodwork, carpentry?
what he will do in the technical school will become part of his life forever. So when you take a child of 13 to go and learn on how to maybe make a broom, then that will become his or her work forever.
Is there anything wrong with that?
But if this child is taken to high school, maybe things can change.
So that's what I'm asking. Is there anything wrong with that? For example, if you take that 12-year-old or 13-year-old kid or 15-year-old kid, you take him to a technical school to learn electrical, right? Or maybe woodwork, carpentry, for example, or maybe mechanical engineering from that age and start earning maybe from that age, for example. Is there anything wrong with that?
The question we should ask ourselves is that the syllabus, the current syllabus that we are using right now, does it give that room?
But the CBC is coming to transition, and that's what it's bringing on board.
So maybe
right?
if we are under CBC, but
aren't you heading there?
The problem that we are solving right now,
yes,
is not even under CBC.
Okay.
This is 844.
So you don't agree?
So I don't agree. So this one, they just have to go to high school, learn from Form 1 to Form 4 and go to the universities. The only problem that we are going to have, social distance in those schools. Because even the current learners who are in those schools, we are even unable to maintain social distance because of the congestion in those classes.
And 100% transition, Mwalimu, I understand 100% on that. And 100% transition debate, let's talk about teenage pregnancies. It's something that as well has shot to the roof.
Exactly.
So how are we going to ensure, again, 100% transition with the young mothers?
The first thing that we should do, we start by the parent. That the parent now, this is a lesson from what we have seen to our girls. This is now a lesson that when a teacher calls you to school, that your daughter or your son is not doing well in this, please listen to the teacher, because the teacher is not a child. The teacher is a grown-up, is also a parent to your child. Is the one who sits with your child for a long time than even you yourself. So it's unfortunately that some parents, when they are called to school to be told about the progress of their learners, they don't accept. They believe this child more than the teacher. When a child says something, the parent will always believe the child. That is where we are going wrong, number one. Number two, allow these children to be the property of the society. Because we have left the learners and the children to be under their parents. So a child can do anything in front of Khalif Juma Athman. And Khalif Juma Athman, despite that he's a teacher, will never do anything. If he warns this child against the behavior that the child is trying to do, the child says that you are not my parent. So the child knows that the person who should correct him or her is the parent.
So you have to go back into community parenting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's aside. 100% transition with teenage pregnancies. How possible is it?
It is still possible.
How?
It is still possible for them to go to school even after delivering, because this is not the first time we are having. Personally, I've taught a lot of children who delivered even in class 6.
Will they be
in
willing
very
to go
many
back?
schools.
Will they be willing to go back?
In fact, they go. In fact, they are the ones who go to school. They don't feel good to remain at home taking care for their children. No, they feel to go to school. So I'm only urging the parents, maybe who are affected with these teenage pregnancies, just to swallow the pain, take the child to their daughters, and please allow their daughters to go to school, because that is the only way that this daughter will maybe get a way of coming back to help the child. But if you let them, all of them, to stay at home, they are going to become they'll be a burden to the parent. They'll become burden to the parent. And even these ones lead now to domestic quarrels. The parent will not be very happy with what he will be seeing in the home. So it will lead to domestic quarrels. And you know what the domestic quarrels lead to? A lot of death that we are even experiencing today in the society.
Wow. Wow. Community parenting is one of your first strategies. Second strategy on dealing with this teenage pregnancies once and for all?
Dealing with the teenage pregnancies, number two, we have to create awareness. We have to create awareness to the pupils and the students, whether in primary, secondary, or even colleges. We have to make them aware of the consequences that they will face when they engage themselves in love affairs, in unwanted love affairs. And also another strategy that we should put on is the government now to take strict measures on the people who are causing these early pregnancies to the children, because they don't just get these pregnancies through taking soda. We have people behind this, and these people are some of them are fathers, big people. Some of them are holding big positions in the societies, are the one who causes this. And after such behaviors have occurred, they go and call the parent, and then they give them some 5,000 shillings, and they tell them to keep quiet. Now a parent who has seen 5,000 shillings will tell the daughter, keep quiet, we shall carry the child. You see? So such like vices should be stopped in the society. Exactly.
Heavy ones. Will you give us your parting shot as we are finalizing this show tonight? Your parting shot on education, your message to the students back at home. You can look at this camera straight in the eye and just tell those people something, and the parents who are listening to you right now.
My message to the learners, especially those ones who received the results, 2020 results, KCPE results, don't give up. You did good. The marks that you see, however small it is to you, is a lot of marks to the society. You have done a very, very tremendous thing to the society. Don't let ever people who are not interested to see you prosper in life destroy your life. Struggle for your life, and please ensure you join secondary school. Don't look for big schools if you cannot afford. Join any school that is around you, because we are learning the same syllabus with the learners who are in big schools. We are all learning the same syllabus. So don't accept to remain at home. Whether you had pregnancy or not, just talk to your parent to stay with the child and go to school. To our parents, please ensure that our learners are safe at home. Don't let them go out and maybe come back with a lot of problems, maybe others to get arrested for the things that they don't know. We have a lot of them who are arrested by the police just for finding themselves in a wrong corner. So please ensure that our learners at home, they are safe. Also ensure that when they put on the television, they are watching the correct channels and the correct programs that suits their age. This is to ensure that their their behavior do not deteriorate. So please ensure that we do that, and we shall ensure that our society will grow to the required level. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Mwalimu Khalfan Athman Juma, Jazakallah khair, and thanks so much, Mwalimu Rashid Songok. Although your internet connection, or rather the connection was a bit not so good, that's why we could not have you here 100% with us. But nonetheless, thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much for everyone who made this possible. Now, to the candidates of 2020 or 2021 for that matter, for those who passed, real knowledge humbles you. If your good grades give you pride and you want to walk on earth as if you're walking on the moon, like everyone should notice your presence because we saw you on TV, or we heard you on the radio, or we read you in the newspapers, then that's not education. Real education humbles you. And that is just but a paper. Real life is outside here. So kill the pride. Don't let it get into your head. Don't let all the fame, all the praises that you're getting across get into your head. Of course, you did well. Congratulations, you did well. I'll clap for you. We pray for you. But do not let it get into your head. Please don't. It will be the biggest undoing you do to yourself. A sheikh and a friend always says, in learning institutions, there's nothing we get apart from the papers. But real education is outside there. Whatever you learned inside there, come and see it outside there in practicality. That's where the real education is. For those who did not perform as per the expectations, the fact that you're still outside there, you're still breathing, you're still alive, then you still have another chance. Still have another chance. And for those who did not perform at all, then never, ever, ever let your grades dictate your life. Never do that. We've had people who've come from worst backgrounds, worst performances, and they've become people of substance outside here today. Some have become our leaders. They didn't perform well, and they are our leaders today that we listen to them. That a number of people within the society want to be like them. So do not let your results dictate your life. It's an important element, but not the most important. The Most High is the most important. So still, remain focused, stick to your vision, be persistent, pray to God. Thank you so much. I'm Faisal Qasim, and this has been the Live Real Talk. See you next week, same place, same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.